Can I please have your attention? And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Now, live from Chicago, the Hal Sparks radio program mega worldwide.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
Hal Sparks, actor, comedian, and multimedia personality.
And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Hal Sparks.
All right, let's do this.
Happy Saturday, everybody. Welcome to the show. It's so good to be with you. It's so good to be back again with Johnny Million, who's live with us in Chicago. How you doing? Hi, there he is. Lisa, thank you, mi amor. Thank you right out of the gate for this.
I'm tired.
Are you? Why are you a little tired?
I'm not. I got a lot of rest and I'm plenty caffeinated.
You jerk. Because he's, by the way, Johnny and I were just discussing before we went on air that I did, my two live streaming shows during the day yesterday, in the morning and in the afternoon at infotainmentwars.com and Flank. And then I did two stand-up shows last night, got done about midnight. And then, I'm pretty good at, when I have to, getting right to sleep. Most times, even when I'm fighting adrenaline post-show and stuff, I can kind of meditate myself into a sleep hole and just I literally I do this step self-hypnosis I've been doing since I was in high school, which is start at your toes, relax your body all the way to the top of your head, and then slow your breathing and your heartbeat until you fall asleep. And it usually works like a charm, and it did last night. Unfortunately, because I guess of residual adrenaline or any number of other things, I woke back up at 3 o'clock in the morning and was like, bah. So if I collapse,
after a show, your show's not over because you keep, just like this, you keep talking to people.
That's true. The only time I don't do it these days is after Nerd Halen shows, which I would love to talk to people, but especially if I have another show the next night, you got to save your singing voice. So
because then you're shouting over a PA with rock music, and
that's rough. And talking in a club is worse than singing. Way harder on your throat.
Yeah, I only lose my voice talking to people who came to see the show.
That's right. Yeah, every single time. So but Johnny has already agreed that if I pass out face down on the keyboard and just start like a series of consonants just start going through the chat where he's going to take over and start talking about Tanya or something. I missed part of that. Tanya. So
people are talking about the spaceman. Why do I have a spaceman again?
Why do you? I don't know. Because he's landed on the moon. No, that's sweet. No, he was up in the corner and I moved him out of the way because there's a button under there that I needed. So, not important.
Now he's just on my head.
Yeah, now he's just on your head. That's fine. So, welcome everybody to the show. There's a lot, obviously, to talk about. The ongoing Ukrainian funding, U.S. funding for Ukraine passed this week after Rand Paul dragged his feet on it and tried to slow it down as much as possible. By the way, the greatest example of if you need one, of what a wasted protest vote does as far as its sort of flaccid attack on actual democracy, that you care by not caring is the illusion, or not care by caring, pretending you care about something when you really don't care. You're just using it for your own political.
How disingenuous?
Yeah, disingenuous. Yes, it is. Absolutely.
His stances, he's planning these out. He's got like a scale of like, how hard do I push back against something that will, like, how much attention will I get versus damage control? Like, you can set your watch by it.
Right. And there's and by the way, thank you, Hal Vickery. He sent a super chat that says
can't block Hal Vickery.
That's right. No, he cannot. So everybody knew it was going to pass. It had overwhelming bipartisan support. Like right after it went and during the block that Rand Paul put on it, the Republican leaders of Congress went to Ukraine to meet with Zelensky after Pelosi had already beaten them to it, because they're not going to be outdone. They are not going to be, at least the upper echelon, what would be the establishment rhino Republicans that Trump and his clan are always decrying, are not going to be boxed out in the coming year, in the coming election cycle, and put in Russia's camp. And as much as, there are members of the Republican Party that are clamoring still to be in that camp, maddeningly, still saying Putin's a strong leader as a talking point, as if that hasn't died, and China's going to eat our lunch. But I mean, it's like a pro-dictator drinking game. Those two phrases, which could not be more ridiculous.
Card is small.
Yeah, right. That's the same one stamped over and over. That the G keeps getting slammed.
Yeah.
But in the as much as that was a waste of time and a bunch of just sort of posturing, ultimately it amounted to nothing. And even still, like, his timing on it was such, and Schumer and everybody knew this, that they were expecting him to do something like this. So they moved the vote a couple of days earlier. So at the very least, the length of time he could hold it would not coincide or overlap with funding running out from the supplemental stuff that we'd already given them, because they were coming up on a point where the initial money that we had given to Ukraine was already spent, both in humanitarian aid and military assistance, because the war is going on a lot longer than Vladimir Putin thought. And now
that never happens.
Right. Yes. Wars never drag on. I mean, look at Afghanistan for both the United States and Russia. Like, you blink and you miss it.
And Russia. No.
Right. And what did I say? Did I not say Russia? Yeah. So,
no, you did. There's just a delay.
Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, apologies if there's a delay today because of the nature of the internet where I am in San Diego. Apparently, it's worse than southern Idaho, northern Nevada. I don't know how that happened, but it's true. So wow. There's a couple of things that have cycled through the news on this. That this is the expectation is now in terms of the Ukraine war, especially with this new aid and the Lend-Lease program starting, which is making the Russian generals that are and spokespeople that appear on RT or the Russian channel, whatever it's called in Russia proper, they're starting to sweat it out. They're starting to recognize that they had a shot at punching through. It may be turning this into some kind of a managed victory on some level of territory if they'd have managed to lock in before the Lend-Lease kicked in and this funding never happened. Now that it's happened, they are all but resigned to losing Donbass and Crimea. Now, that is that, and if Russia fights its hardest, they will eliminate what is effectively 2/3 of their functioning military men fighting in Russia by end of August, which is madness, because they have already lost more people than the U.S. lost in both Afghanistan and Iraq over the course of 20 years. They lost more than they lost in Afghanistan in 8 years themselves. Strategically, ideologically, and economically, all of this has been the single greatest geopolitical mistake Russia has ever made. And Putin now, reports are saying that he is not only doubling down on it, he is actively participating in military planning on a kernel level.
That can't be good.
No, especially in his state where he allegedly, and different reports, whether he's got Parkinson's or whether I personally believe that shake is from a series of stimulants that he's taking to keep himself awake. Because how do you sleep when you think everyone wants to murder you? If you have to sit at a table that long, what does your bedroom look like? You know what I mean? Yes. Right? I don't
know how anybody who is so active in undermining things around him can actually get a real restful night's sleep.
Oh, especially when everyone around you, your support structure, but for maybe 3 people, are hedonistic oligarchs who have just like stacking money and having yachts and prostitutes and, you know, and like gold toilets and that kind of stuff. Those kind of people don't die for a cause. Those people at best bug out with their stuff at one point, and at worst kill you because you are interfering with their money. They use some of that
die from an
stuff.
enlarged heart.
That's right. Yeah, they like occasionally. Well, if they don't, weirdly enough, you know, do themselves in along with their families just out of, for some reason, guilty conscience or worry, like 3 oligarchs.
Yeah, you got to take your family with you.
That you know, there's a lot of that hinky stuff going on. And again, I don't know how, if you're one of these oligarchs and you're a hedonist and you live your life for your own pleasure and you don't care what happens to the Russian people.
My language. Keep
right?
coming.
Yeah. You understand. Maybe you're like the oligarch whisperer, Johnny. You can tell us what it would be like. Like if I were to, you know.
But like OJ writing "If I Did It."
Right. If one of these guys, you know, fell out a window or did himself in and took his family with him, there'd be like, it's kind of no surprise if you're collapsing, all your money's going away, you owe it money to some scary people, like you'd almost believe it. But we're up to like 5 whole families at this point. And I don't know how any of
am I missing?
5 oligarchs directly related to Vladimir Putin in the last month and a half have done themselves in and taken their family with them.
I think they'd help.
Huh? Yeah. I mean, we've all seen Shooter. We've all seen, like, if you haven't seen the Equalizer, I highly recommend it because it's just basically like a premonition of how you do that. They haven't like set it up. Like, this is how you would, you know, in the second Equalizer, there's literally a scene of Russian mercenaries coming in and killing an ambassador and his family, his wife, and going, well, you got to let us do this or we're going to wait till your kid gets home and kill him too. And that's, you know, think in terms of like 5 of these people. Now, imagine you're one of these other people. You're one of the other oligarchs. You still have your money. You're still considered inside the circle. How long does that last? We got to take a break. When we come back, one of the Daily Beast has a story in it.
BC 2257 wrote 5 eggligarchs.
Eggligarchs. Oh yes, 5 eggs. Right. Naughty. We have to take a break.
5 eggs.
But we will be back right after this. It's the House Sparks Radio program, Mega Worldwide. Now with 100% more Johnny Million. We'll be back.
5 eggs in a month. 5 eggs. Eat 2 eggs a day. 5 eggs.
Q snatch.
All right.
The old Q snatch.
2,000 meals coming soon. 2,000 meals coming soon.
Wow. What?
2,000 meals coming soon.